Hello and welcome back to another movie review. As always, I'm Kelly, and I just got out of 47 meters down, Uncaged, which is immediately the worst movie in the world when that Uncaged title didn't instantly have Nicolas Cage as a shark pop up and try to eat me. Failure. Jokes aside, this movie was pretty garbage. Like, really, really garbage. There's very few positives I can actually give this movie. Though there were a couple of surprising things inside of it. Overall, it's exactly what you think it's going to be. This studio is pretty much proving to become the new canon, which means that these productions are cheap as crap. Everyone does a horrible job. The effects look like garbage, and they're just usually cash grabs that may or may not be money laundering. We don't know yet. And if you don't know what I'm referencing, go watch Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, and you'll understand. So without further ado, let's actually get into this movie proper with probably the 2 or 3 positive things I can say about this movie. There was one really effective jump scare inside of this. Like, it was enough that I almost dropped my freaking popcorn, and I was not expecting that quality from the movie that had been pretty bad at this point. I will give props to that one jump scare. You almost got me. Okay, let me rephrase that. You got me, but I'll give props to that one jump scare. Just one. They got one movie. Also, I can say that the acting inside of it was not terrible, but not good. I know it's kind of weird to put this in the positive side, but let me explain. For everything that this movie does, and it does a lot of bad crap, I can say that the actors in it are trying to give a good performance despite the production and writing hiccups here. And it's kind of nice to see the actors trying to give a shit and do stuff, but I can't say that it actually is worth pretty much anything inside of this movie. I mean, the biggest positive I could possibly say about this movie is that for the daughters of Sylvester Stallone and Jamie Foxx being 2 of the leaders inside of this, it was not as nepotistically bad as I thought it would be. And yes, 2 of the characters are played by, as I said, Jamie Foxx's and Sylvester Stallone's daughters inside of this. Corinne Fox and Sistine Rose Stallone. I said both of those names wrong, and I don't care, because I suck at pronouncing names. So I can't necessarily bag too much on it. For that, I will bag on pretty much everything else, and that's pretty much the end of all the positives I'm going to say. Oh my god, does this movie drag. It is an hour and a half, and you can tell that this script is made for an hour-long TV special at best. Every scene, especially at the very beginning of this movie, is drawn out. There are times where the music will literally stop, but the crane will still be pulling up like in some big grand arc for another 15-20 seconds after the music stops, just to pad this time out so they can make it to a freaking feature-length film and drop it in a time when there's nothing else coming out. Thank you, August and September, for being the time when Hollywood throws its shit at everybody. God, I can't wait until it comes out. And for it dragging so goddamn much, you'd think that once they actually get into the water and we start being, harassed by sharks, that it might get better. And in truth, it doesn't. It actually gets worse. Because again, they do the same thing that movies like The Purge did, where it's just long sequences of people, where is it? Where is it? Is it gonna come? Is it coming? Is it coming? Admittedly, one of those does lead up to that aforementioned really good jump scare when it makes you think that, the setup for that scare is over and whatnot, and then it just pops out of you. But other than that, it's just long and tedious. You can tell that this whole thing was filmed on an aquarium, probably the size about the theater that I saw it in, which was one of the smaller theaters, and that they just moved some of the rocks around between shots. They went down the same spiral staircase like 3 times, and I could have sworn they used the exact same shot each time, and I could tell when the camera pans up to the dark and then comes back down to restart the same shot we saw a second ago. This is cheap, borderline idiotic editing choices and direction, and I just Oh God, this movie is so fucking cheap. I don't think that you were supposed to notice at the end of the movie that when they came up and they were finally going to get free until Nicole, I think her character name was, it was Sylvester Stallone's daughter, but is stupid and, completely breaks their shit. I don't think you were supposed to notice that that place that they came up in was the exact same one they jumped into at the beginning of the movie, despite it supposedly being on the completely other side of this underwater city. Oh, and it's time to get into the stupid character moments, like the aforementioned girl ruining their escape attempt. To be fair, though, this was the probably most selfish and stupid girl throughout all of this, so I can completely understand that within her character that she jump onto this their seemingly only way out the second the sharks show up, even though they were supposed to have gotten away from them. I can completely understand her reaction there. What I can't understand is that the reaction in pretty much every other fucking scene in this movie is, the second something happens, let's flail! We all have to flail underwater! Nobody can do anything because we have to flail! And again, understandable reaction for amateur divers when they first come across these sharks. But by the 7th and 8th time they're reacting to these sharks, them doing the stupid flail shit, I'm sorry, they deserve to be eaten at this point. You know that shit doesn't work anymore, so stop it! I can't say that the characters are necessarily stupid, it's just that the script really needs them to be stupid. So they have to justify a lot of these stupid actions, and when they do this stupid flail shit, I'm sorry, but that is only going to bring the sharks to you. The one time you don't do that crap, it actually saved your life, remember? Also, let's just point this out. There are only 2 sharks inside of this movie, and they seem to be able to teleport. They appear wherever the hell they need to be to push the plot along. If they need to be in this other room that they're not supposed to be able to get into, then they just appear there. But they can't get into this other room that had an opening about the same size. So why? Oh, and speaking of the sharks themselves, I should also probably point out the fact that their CGI looks like shit. Like, I just got out of Dora the Explorer movie, and that had better CGI than these fucking sharks. That is saying a lot. This movie is just so fucking bad. There is nothing of merit worth here. Again, one jump scare feels like it was pretty much just an accident. Everything else in this movie is pretty consistently bad. It's mediocre, bland, and it was pretty clear that the studio, again, is just making a cheap cash grab to throw out into theaters at a time when they know they have no competition. It's hoping to suck in as much money as possible in a project that frankly doesn't deserve it. So my final verdict across this entire thing is fuck it. Really, just fuck it. There's no reason. I was going to give it a skip it originally, but just sitting here recording it, recalling everything, yeah, fuck it. It has no reason to exist. Its talent is honestly too good for this shit, and it's pretty clear it's a paycheck for most of them. And the couple people that actually do need this acting credit, frankly, you can do better in other productions. Don't let this movie be on your resume. Just don't. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on that one. It's a bit shorter than I usually do, and it's 47 meters down. What else am I supposed to say? It's garbage. Don't see it. So yeah, that's it for me. If you liked the video or saw the 47 meters down, tell me what you thought about it in the comments down below. Let's get some healthy discussion going. As always, be sure to like, share, subscribe, do all that jazz so that YouTube channels don't get buried in the mix and all that crap. And yeah, that's it for me, so I'll see you all next time.